I'm Mindy. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about some of the 2024 horror movies that I watched this past year. And I'm going to start with some kind of awards for some of the movies and then go into my top 10 2024 movies of the year, ending with my favorite movie of the year. But I'm going to start with the worst 2024 release that I watched. I didn't watch all of the movies, but of the 19 2024 horror releases that I watched, these are I have one that is the worst, one that's the most disappointing, and one that is the most rewatchable, and then I'll go in to my favorites. So, starting with the worst, very sorry. I hate doing this. But my worst movie was the first 2024 release that I watched in the year, and that was Night Swim. And I believe this started as a short film, and I think it should have stayed that way because I don't think it had enough to make it, to go off of, to make it into a whole feature-length film. It was about a haunted swimming pool, but it was not, nothing new, exciting, different, just pretty bland, run-of-the-mill type thing. My most disappointing movie of the year was Beetlejuice, directed by Tim Burton. I love Beetlejuice, and I was super excited to watch Beetlejuice, but mostly this one did not live up to the original. I don't think it played with the colors enough. Something was off. Some of the choices were just odd, strange. Beetlejuice is a movie that I'll watch over and over and over. Beetlejuice, I don't feel like I need to see again. So, it just didn't live up to the original, and that's just sad. But it certainly wasn't bad. And now for the most rewatchable movie for 2024 horror releases is Lisa Frankenstein, which is directed by Zelda Williams, and it did not make my top 10 favorites, but I did rewatch. I have watched that movie 3 times already. 3 times in 2024 I watched Lisa Frankenstein because it's just so silly, funny, just a fun, goofy time. With a little bit of spookiness, a little bit of grossness, a little bit of weirdness, which is kind of my vibe. Okay, now I'm gonna go into my best horror movies of 2024. Number 10 is Immaculate, directed by Michael Mohan, and this is a religious horror movie about a woman in a nunnery who finds out that there's some weird things going on at this convent, and it involves Immaculate Conception. Number 9 is Oddity, directed by Damien McCarthy. And I thought this was one of the scariest movies of the year. There were some really high-tension, spooky moments involving this doll. Number 8 on my list is The First Omen, which is another religious horror movie, and it has a very similar type premise to Immaculate. It takes place in a convent, and a new person coming into the convent discovers something weird going on. However, I think that The First Omen actually did it a little bit better. First Omen was directed by Akasha Stevenson, and it is definitely worth checking out. Number 7 is A Quiet Place Day One, which is directed by Michael Sarnowski. And I really liked the setting, New York City. It's super scary thinking that the whole Quiet Place situation with aliens coming and hunting by sound, that it would be New York City. It's like the loudest place on earth, and boy, that would be so scary. And there's a cat in it that I absolutely fell in love with. Such a good kitty. Number 6 on my list is Longlegs, directed by Osgood Perkins. And I found this chilling and interesting for a serial killer type story. It went in a very interesting direction that I really enjoyed. Number 5 on my list is Infested, directed by Sebastian Vanasek, and this was a French movie that was made in 2023, but it became available in the US in 2024. And Infested was a fantastic story about an apartment building that gets infested with spiders, deadly spiders that multiply quickly, and they're everywhere. And they use real spiders for the filming of this movie, and it is the scariest movie. This probably is the scariest movie I've seen this year, having much to do with my fear of spiders, but rooms and hallways just completely full of spiders everywhere, just crawling and moving, and it's terrifying. Number 4 on my list is Late Night with the Devil, directed by Cameron and Colin Keynes. And this was just such a stylish movie. It's set on like a 1970s talk show, late night show, like Johnny Carson type thing. And it follows this show, and it's very interesting, the kind of ups and downs of the show, and then desperate to get viewership up, they do this Halloween special that goes completely off the rails. It's possession story. It's amazing. This is an amazing, amazing, amazing movie. So entertaining, and I loved it. And now we're up to my top 3 movies of the year, and all 3 of these movies I gave 5 stars. So I loved these movies. Number 3 is Cuckoo, directed by Tillman Singer, and it's about this family with 2 daughters that move to another country, and some very strange things start to happen. And I don't want to tell hardly anything about this movie, because going in not knowing anything was a great decision on my part, but I just found it really interesting, unique premise that I've never really seen before, and it had a great soundtrack that I loved. The use of music throughout was really great, and I loved the characters in this story. Number 2 on my list is The Substance, directed by Coralie Farge, which was the surprise hit of the year for me. I didn't know what to expect going in, wasn't sure if it was gonna be the best, or like just from the premise, but it blew me away. The colors, the costumes, the music, the body horror is intense. It is a lot, and it keeps ramping up and up and up, and just keeps going. When you think that it can't be weirder or grosser, and it just keeps going. And I loved it. I loved every second of it, and I can't wait to get my physical copy and start rewatching that one all the time. I know I will. And then my number one movie is Nosferatu, directed by Robert Eggers, and Robert Eggers is my favorite director. He directed two of my favorite movies, The Witch and The Northman. So that could have something to do with why I ended up loving this movie so much. I just love his aesthetic and the way he does historical time periods. It's beautiful. His movies are beautiful. All of them. Gorgeous. A feast for the eyes. And Count Orlok's voice will forever haunt my dreams. Like, so good. So good. And I thought the acting was really well done. The costumes were amazing. Everything was spot on. It was hard to choose between Nosferatu and The Substance for my favorite movie, but I just can't get enough of that Robert Eggers flair. That style, like, that's totally my thing. It's another one that I want to get my hands on to rewatch soon. Those are all my movies from the year, and I would love to know what your favorite movie of the year was. Did you have differing thoughts on any of these movies? I'd love to hear about it down in the comments, and I'll be back very soon with another book related video. Thanks. Bye.